Hello and welcome once again. We are in this series of videos where we are trying to learn how to use prompting to enhance our full specifications or full description of our patent applications. We are using IP Author and its prompting techniques to achieve such a result. Now, oftentimes we find when we have discussed or have described our full specifications of claims, whether they are drafted by us, our associates, or by AI, it is possible sometimes there could be limiting language, or there could be some paragraphs or some statements where the feature of a certain component is limited to a certain application, right? Or so on and so forth. We want to always avoid such limiting scopes or of our functions, of our components, of our features. So I have devised a few prompts to help us avoid such kind of language and create pattern applications with open interpretation of the function, the components, and possibilities. I'm going to show you three prompts right here. So I have written three prompts. The first one is to avoid using definitive or limiting words. For example, necessary, should be, must be, and etc. Instead, use open-ended language that could be like may, could, can to keep the description broad. So I am going to use three of these prompts for for three different examples I have already on my screen, and then see how it could change the language. So I use our first prompt and I paste this right here on a description, which is for a semiconductor manufacturing piece. So I say in the detailed description, go ahead and this is my prompt. Avoid using definitive or limiting keywords like should, necessary, must. I could also say etc. to make it even more broad. And instead, you should use open-ended language like these. And I say generate. So in a matter of a few seconds, it will start to create a slightly different style, language, or a feel for how it's describing these kinds of components. Right? The second prompt will let it complete the description. The second prompt I have is to understand how we can enhance the description by avoiding or assuming that a certain component or a mechanism is the only means of achieving an outcome, right? So here I want the system to draft in such a way that allows for other potential methods or mechanisms to achieve this particular outcome. So trying to say this is not the only way to go to uh, a certain place. There could be other ways in which we could achieve that. Again, I copy this and I have another nail extraction tool based invention where I could go to the full description and just paste this prompt in our full description. Describe systems, components, or mechanisms without assuming that they are the only means of achieving uh, an outcome. For example, I could just say generate and it would already start creating such a description. The third prompt I have is to avoid suggesting that a specific or only a sole method for achieving a certain function is there in our description. So instead, we should draft in order to suggest alternate ways of expressing action or functions without limiting them to the current language. Right? So as to say, okay, this can happen in probably any other way as well, or a certain um, uh, a function. This is not the sole method to suggest this. I copy this and I want to use this for another invention, which is around fungicidal fertilizers. I go to full description and paste this in the prompt, right? And there as well, I'd ask the system to regenerate. So basically, there could be different ways in which you want to open your answer up or your full specifications up to different limiting options or languages. And if you believe your description may also have such language, you could use prompts like these and avoid such a language. I'll once again show you my prompts. Um, they are either to avoid a definitive or a limiting word, for example, must or necessary or should or something like that. And instead, so here again, we're not saying just these words, but like these, and instead give a suggestion to use open-ended language. Then also the other thing is to not suggest in the language that the means of achieving a certain function or a certain outcome is just by the method I have discussed here. It could be something else as well. And then also the third one is to avoid suggesting a specific or only a sole method for achieving a certain function, and it should be more open. And that's how I would use these prompts. You could use your own or write your own language, which could be slightly different than what I have used to achieve results that are more suited to your um, demand. So I would again say thank you for your time. Keep watching these videos. There are many such other videos on enhancing your description. And of course, keep using IP author and keep winning at your workplace. Take care and bye bye.